Welcome to Space Heroes. I'm Freddie Keeger, joined by the trio Disha Soyawanshi, Ritwaj Ranjan, and Sukdeep Singh. Ritwaj will kick us off with Anousheh Ansari, the woman who didn't wait for an invite but simply bought her ticket to orbit, proving space is a playground for the bold and the resourceful. Sukdeep shines a light on Koichi Wakata, the calm, steady veteran, bridging decades of ISS expertise into the new frontier. Disha brings us Peggy Whitson, the relentless pioneer rewriting the rules of endurance in space. And I'll tell you about Yusaku Maezawa, the visionary entrepreneur shaking up space cultural scene.
These stories prove space exploration burns in all of us, fueled by passion and private drive. The rapid growth of the private space sector shows it is often sparked by deeply personal investments.
The Frontiers Whitening, where seasoned pros meet private investors, blending experience and entrepreneurship. A remarkable exchange forging new paths.
The old astronaut mold shattered. Today's space heroes come from every walk of life, holding keys to humanity's future in space.
Private wealth, profound government expertise, and worldwide inspiration merge to propel humanity's next giant leap. Let's dive in. And this is Space Heroes. Space tourism began with Dennis Tito, who launched on April 28, 2001, aboard the Soyuz TM-32. He spent nearly 8 days, 7 days, 22 hours, 4 minutes, to be precise, aboard the ISS, performing a scientific experiment useful for his business. South African entrepreneur Mark Shuttleworth followed on April 25, 2002. The third space tourist, American scientist Gregory Olson, launched on October 1st, 2005, for about 10 days conducting experiments during his stay. Anousheh Ansari, the fourth space tourist, became the first female private space explorer on September 18, 2006, spending around 10 days aboard the ISS and engaging in scientific research and public outreach. Ritwaj, tell us more about Anousheh Ansari's legacy.
Anousheh Ansari's story starts with a powerful, almost impossible dream. She was a young girl in Iran, mesmerized by the stars, but knowing that the path of an astronaut was completely closed to her. Yet decades later, after moving to the US during the Iranian Revolution, she turned that dream into reality. In 2006, she became the first Iranian born woman to travel to space, all because she paid her own way on the Russian Soyuz TMA-9 mission.
And it's easy to focus on the money, but the entrepreneurial spirit is the real core of her story. She built a massive tech company, Perdea Systems. She earned that ticket through decades of truly grueling work on Earth. She leveraged her success to make space accessible.
Exactly. She leveraged her incredible success in telecommunications tech to purchase a seat for herself and the dream for countless others. She proved orbital travel was moving from a government monopoly to a viable private aspiration, and this wasn't a relaxing trip either. She trained for months at Star City, Russia, undergoing the same rigorous regimen as the career cosmonauts.
And she did not just look out the window, which is an important fun fact. She conducted actual scientific experiments for the European Space Agency while she was up there. She was working private astronaut.
Absolutely. She was a scientist, an engineer, and an entrepreneur all at once. But her larger impact was cultural. She shared her entire experience with students worldwide through blogs and videos, pioneering space outreach. She was the original space influencer. She proved the private space traveler could be an operational, scientific, and educational asset.
She made the impossible feel reachable. And she didn't stop there. She became a huge backer of the Google Lunar X Prize, helping to kickstart the entire private lunar race. She set the template for the financially and personally driven space citizen. Thanks, Ritwaj, for sharing her story. As we transition from the power of private vision to the power of professional standards, we hand over to Sudeep to talk about the man who helped build the orbital home that people like Ansari were visiting. Sudeep, tell us about the fundamental contributor to the building of the ISS, who is Koichi Wakata.
Koichi Wakata is the definition of methodical excellence and discipline. If Ansari was the lightning strike of private ambition, Wakata is the solid, grounded engineer who built the infrastructure to handle that energy. He wasn't a fighter pilot, he was an aerospace engineer having earned 3 degrees, including a doctorate from the University of Tokyo.
It's a fascinating professional journey. Did he go straight into space after his PhD?
No, he actually started his professional life testing aircraft performance and flight safety as an engineer for Japan Airlines, all of this before being selected by JAXA. He brought that extreme technical precision to space. He quickly became the first Japanese mission specialist on a US space shuttle, and his missions were absolutely critical to the actual assembly of the International Space Station. He literally helped build the parts that became our current home in orbit.
He represents the international backbone. He is the quiet hero, ensuring things run smoothly for everyone else.
Absolutely, and his leadership milestones are huge for Japan and for Asia. By 2013, he became the first Japanese commander of the ISS during Expedition 38 by 39, demonstrating Asia's operational maturity in space. He has logged over 500 days in space, the most of any Japanese astronaut, performing complex robotics and life sciences research.
So he's the ultimate team player and problem solver, providing the orbital home for everyone else.
Precisely, he represents the high standard and dedication needed to maintain complex orbit infrastructures. He ensures the orbital home is safe and ready for whoever arrives, whether it's government crew or a private mission. His work enables everyone else.
Wakata is the builder. Now, Disha, we turn to the ultimate professional who didn't just live in that home, but mastered it, commanded it twice, broke every American record there is, and is now selling the blueprints to the commercial world. Take us, Disha, to the next level with the most experienced American astronaut in history, Dr. Peggy Whitson.
Peggy Whitson is truly the ultimate space hero, and her career is simply a series of broken records. Her story is fantastic because she was such an outsider. Fun fact, she grew up on a farm in Beaconsfield, Iowa, not a military base. She wasn't a pilot, she was a biochemist with a PhD from Rice University. She decided she wanted to be an astronaut after watching the 1969 moon landing as a child. Her scientific education, not aviation, was her golden ticket.
And her records are just staggering. She is the undisputed queen of orbital longevity. What is her official total time in space now?
That's unstoppable. Across all her missions, she's logged an incredible 695 days in space. That makes her the most experienced American astronaut, male or female, and any woman worldwide. Plus, she has 10 spacewalks under her belt, totaling over 60 hours. She was the ultimate hands-on problem solver, often outside, fixing and building the ISS infrastructure alongside colleagues like Koichi Wakata.
Yes, but her biggest contribution might be institutional, how she changed the leadership culture at NASA.
She set massive precedents for women and scientists in leadership. She became the first NASA science officer on her first mission. Then she wasn't just the first woman to command the ISS, she commanded it twice, which no other woman has done. Even bigger, she became the first woman and the first non-military person to be appointed chief of the astronaut office. She put science at very top of the command structure.
That is the ultimate validation of the scientific track. It shows that the preciseness of the PhD is what government agencies value most for long duration missions.
Exactly, and here is the crucial connection to the commercial age. When Whitson retired from NASA in 2018, she made a very calculated strategic pivot. She immediately became the director of human spaceflight for Axiom Space.
So the greatest professional astronaut becomes the institutional head of the commercial space industry. She's taking decades of taxpayer-funded knowledge and using it to safely open up the frontier for the citizens. Bravo.
She is the bridge. She commanded the Axiom mission too, the first private mission commanded by a woman, which carried the first Saudi woman in space. They were doing groundbreaking commercial science. like optimizing DNA, inspired nanomaterials for therapeutic mRNA delivery. She is personally ensuring that this new era is safe and productive.
So Anousheh Ansari was the first private ticket purchaser, and Peggy Whitson is now the ultimate operational authority making the rules for the next generation of private space travelers, scientists, and tourists. That's a powerful and a direct link, huh?
Yes, and she is still breaking records. At 65, she has commanded Axiom Mission 4 in 2025, making her the oldest woman to ever orbit the Earth. Her philosophy is clear that it is critical that we are continuously breaking records because that represents us moving forward in exploration.
Incredible. So we have Ansari, the entrepreneur who opened the door, Wakata, the engineer who built the walls, and Whitson, the scientist who commands the station and now is commercializing the process. Now we have one final, utterly unique figure who is using private wealth to change the very reason we go to space, Yusaku Maezawa.
Maezawa is a pure cultural vision, Frederick, the Japanese billionaire and visionary art collector. He founded the massive online fashion retailer ZozoTown, but his core passions are art, the moon, and unconventional rock music.
The guy who famously bought a $110 million Jean Michel Basquiat painting. Maezawa was a drummer in an experimental rock band during high school. That creative background is the key to his vision.
Indeed, he was part of an underground rock scene during his school years, which speaks to his highly creative and unconventional spirit. That background defines his approach to everything, including space. His Dear Moon project is where he chartered SpaceX Starship to fly artists and civilians around the moon. He's not commissioning science or engineering, he's commissioning culture. He believes that artists seeing the Earth from that profound cosmic perspective will bring back something that sparks entirely new creative growth on Earth. It's about inspiring humanity through space culture.
It's magnificent blend for the visionary ambition we saw in Ansari, but applied to a huge cultural goal. He's trying to make spaceflight an inherently human and artistic experience.
And that brings us full circle. Maezawa and Ansari represent the private vision and the financial freedom. Wakata and Whitson represent the professional expertise and safety standards. But the key is that Whitson, the NASA veteran and commander, is the one ensuring that future private space flights, whether for science, for profit, or for Maezawa's artists, are safe, effective, and compliant with decades of orbital experience.
It shows that the next age of exploration will only be truly collaborative. The visionary art collector, the tech mogul, the Japanese engineer, and the Iowa farm girl biochemist. They all need each other to reach the stars.
These four heroes paved the way for the next chapter in space, a new age driven by the records, the commerce, the diplomacy, and the simple, enduring human desire to see what's beyond the horizon. Thanks, Disha Ritwajan Sukdeep, for your contribution. Please join us next time as we continue to explore the lives of humanity's space heroes. Keep looking up, and until next time, live long and prosper.